That's why there was a lot of things.
Okay. We'll go ahead and get started with the work session. Silence my phone. I wanted to use this time. This is a pretty big conversation to have and too much for me to type and put into a superintendent update on a Sunday afternoon. Because there's also some big decisions that I think need to be considered that the district will likely be asked to make in the future. So my hope, our plan for this time is to update you on the status of where we are right now, what we know so far in the investigation and the camera work, what still needs to be known and done. I want to update you on the new access point, the new manhole, any potential drainage improvements, the preliminary costs right now for cleanup. I will go over that with you today. And then how we will move forward with procurement, the proposal evaluation process, and our next steps. After we're done with this, we'll roll into the special session. We have a few HR items that need to be approved while we're together, and we will live stream that meeting as required. So I'm going to go ahead and get started so that I can be respectful of everyone's time. And I very much want this to be interactive, so please ask questions, get information, clarifications that you need while you're here. I've asked Jeff to come, and I asked Brian Wilson to come because Brian will be able to speak to the initial inspection and findings more clearly than I can. So we had, as you know, building flood two Wednesdays ago now, and Jeff had provided you a list of all of the rooms in the areas that were impacted. Jeff, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you want to talk a little bit about ServPro, their remediation, air quality testing, and where we currently stand?
1 second.
Sorry,
Piece of
just
candy,
took a big piece of candy. Well, while he's chewing his piece of candy, I will share with you Jody had asked a good question about what insurance would cover, and that ServPro bill came right in under our deductible, so we'll pay that because it's under the deductible amount.
Is there anything, since they declared Indiana a state of emergency, is there anything we can do to reach out to the state to try to get some of that, recover some of that cost?
Yeah, so one of the reasons why I put together the preliminary flood estimate was Terry Jackson from EMA asked for me to provide that. He told me what he needed and that he was going to pass that on to the governor. The governor was supposed to, meet with the governor on Friday, this past Friday. We haven't heard anything back as to the determination of whether we will qualify for disaster relief or not. I'm not real hopeful. I know that we tried to do this also with the snowstorm that we got last year when we were shut down for over a week. But we did our due diligence to document every dime or anticipated dime in regards to the flood-related costs. Also, and I'll talk about this a little bit, in the event we were to be granted federal dollars, we have a different procurement requirement. So if we're using our own money, there's a board policy, and then there's a different set of board policy for if we were to get federal relief money and how we proceed if we do get federal relief money. Good question. Jeff, can you talk a little bit about ServPro, air quality testing, and then we'll pass it on to the investigation to Brian.
Yep, absolutely. As you guys are well aware, we had that water event, and shortly after the water event transpired, decision was made about our air quality and possibly questions to the general public in regards to what we were doing in order to ensure a safe place for students to return whenever cleanup was finished. ServPro came on site, same day, I believe Thursday, around 12:30 p.m., when they got on site, they unleashed probably anywhere between 40 to 60 fans, 20 more dehumidifiers along with other equipment, and some deodorizer spray and mold spray that they utilized in our carpets, some of our classroom walls, concrete, that such. Once they started on site, their lead walked around with their air quality testing wand, took all of his initial readings, and of course we were off the charts with humidity, just water retention. Everything was bad, bad, bad. It didn't take long, approximately 24 hours later on Friday, he took the same area readings, and we had already fallen off by almost 70% of what his readings were the day before. And that trend continued to follow into Saturday and also Sunday. While he was on site Saturday, there was nothing that he was alarmed about. He felt very comfortable and confident that Monday was going to go off without a hitch, and that we were going to be able to provide a safe place for the students. I felt the same thing, but in regards to the cleaning, that was where my question was, and we were able to take care of that on Friday in-house. We were approached by ServPro and asked if we would like to have them clean our facility at an emergency fund price tag, and the work be completed over the weekend. We denied that request and did everything in-house, and I think our team did a phenomenal job of getting the sediment, sand, water, dirt, everything up. Everybody that was on site pitched in. Friday night was spent attacking those areas and getting them back up to standard. Saturday, when he showed back up, when his readings were taken in those areas, there was still quite a bit of fans running. Dehumidifiers have been switched and moved throughout other areas depending on what his readings were showing. He was fairly confident Saturday that we wouldn't need any delay. There wouldn't be any delay in opening. I was hopeful as well in the same regard, just praying that nothing that we didn't see, the unknown and the unseen, wasn't awaiting around the corner for us. When I came in on Sunday, I was here early, met with him. He was very happy and very pleased with the direction that our air quality was traveling. It got down into acceptable levels. At that point, around 10:30 Sunday morning, they removed all of their equipment from our facility and have not been back. As far as I know, all of our air quality standards and testing have been met, and nothing is in an alarm state or in an area where we need to pay any more attention to. As of now, I'm not saying there's not something hidden, but when it came time to open back on Monday, we were good to go. When we had the professional aspect that provided us that information to let us all know that we were safe to open back for students.
I will share, Jeff, and with the board, that Friday I applied for a waiver with the state school accountability office so that we potentially don't have to make up that Thursday. I'm still waiting to hear back their decision on whether they will grant us that waiver or not. We'll let you know as soon as we find out. Did you want to add anything else, Jeff, to that?
Just a few things. One, I don't believe, and Brian can confirm this, I don't believe we dealt with any sort of sewer backup at all. I think the majority of this problem, 99% of this problem, is stormwater. So that really saved us, in all honesty, in regards to the cleanup per se. It didn't eliminate the work that needed to be completed or what needed to be dried, but ServPro did a phenomenal job of directing all of their assets to exactly where we needed them. There was no wasted time, there was no wasted energy, there wasn't any wasted electricity on equipment. I felt that the response that they provided us was adequate to get us back up and running. I was a little disappointed when I seen the final tally, and in that process I was asked if we would like to utilize their cleaning services. I kind of figured for that price tag that we should be including those kind of things, but I don't run their company and I'm not going to speak to what they do. But that's that was an eye-opener for sure.
Do you guys have any questions for Jeff?
I just smile because like dealing with the house fire, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I'm in the wrong business.
I am in the wrong business.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's,
it was rather impressive.
Yeah.
let's transition to stormwater system investigation and talk about the findings of the initial camera inspection, what we've learned about the sediment, sand, and root obstructions, explain the inaccessible drain lines near the elementary school, and some limitations that were created by the absence of some access points. Brian, do you feel comfortable taking stab at helping the board to understand as you came on?
Has anybody read the emails that I sent you previously?
I forwarded those to you, forwarded those to them, yes. And
I got an
I've given them a
understanding.
copy of the map that you drew
Okay.
of this. Yeah.
You guys have an understanding of kind of what we're looking at out here in the front with the roots and stuff?
Yeah, but if you'd like to like walk us through the email, kind of
I don't have it in front
what
of me.
your highlights are.
Is it clay
Here,
tile?
I have a copy
Is
of
that
the
what
email.
we're dealing with? or
Yeah,
what?
There's a copy of the email.
yeah, everything in this whole facility from out there all the way out front over to the creek basically is all clay tile.
So is this stormwater hooked into Jasonville, or is it got an outlet somewhere?
There's a creek out there by that dugout. If you go to the dugout and walk right past it, there's a 24-inch line that's connected to the road out there that they must have done with the ball field. And then this 18-inch main, you can see it coming out there. So, and then in doing all this, I kind of took a step further to try to figure out where all the rest of the water's going. And there's a lot going that way, but it's probably affecting your neighbors more than it's affecting you guys, other than the playground. But there's some concern for civil things that you guys might want to look into with that, kind of by itself. This thing is directed that way, but that whole issue is basically flooding your neighbors too. So if that backs up, then, and you can see where it actually washed out their driveway from all the surface water that could not leave over here. So unrelated to this scenario, but just something to think about.
But if that's working right down here, then
This has nothing to do with that. They're actually kind of two different focus points. That's why I just want to bring it to your attention, why I noted it in here, because if you have to get a civil engineer involved and they look at the entire property, you're probably going to see a huge project that's probably going to have to result from this. I'm just trying to fix the one little problem with it flooding out here by giving this simple solution to get this root problem and the drain fixed out here, because we've isolated that. We know where the big restriction is. The next target point is going to be where all the restrictions are at out here. Now that drawing that you have probably doesn't show the old work and new work, and the actual picture that's part of that is the other direction. If you printed that off as a landscape, it'll probably show you the whole thing.
They do have.
You got the whole
landscape
picture?
version. Yeah, they do.
So, from what I've determined, is at one time, this was just basically an open way all the way through here, from the street to that wall. When they done this project for the media center and the library, they basically just added all this on and then put new pipes and drainage and all this stuff underneath of it, but kept everything that was existing prior out there and then out front. And then they put all new PVC underneath this part of the building, and then, of course, build over it. Now, that's what was proposed according to the prints that I looked at. Now, whether it was all done that way, we don't know until we get a camera in it. But we do know that there's major blockage still out there, and that's probably more of a result of the fact that it can't leave the front of the building. One of the kind of telltale signs that I seen was when I walked up here, there was a bunch of sand around the catch basins. So that tells me that when the building was collecting water on the roofs and it was pushing down through all the pipes in the entire building, they're trying to collect out here and then go underneath this part of the building to get out. Well, since the blockage was downstream, all of that water was probably geysering out the front on those 4 catch basins also, and that's why there's sand all over there. And all of these drains out here that we scoped, you can't get any further because they're full of sand. Now, if there's sand out there, that tells me that there's a good likelihood that there's a breach, whether it's a broken clay tile from the existing building when it was built, and when was this built, 1960s, 1950s, something like that?
67.
So it could be that it's just a broken line out there, and it's kind of isolated to that. It's just a matter of cleaning these PVC lines out. Or it could be where something's just broke loose. Maybe they didn't get a good connection between the tile and the new PVC, and it's broke there. But where that tree is out there, we couldn't get, I think, maybe 10 feet to it.
I
That's
don't even
about,
think we got back underneath the school.
Yeah.
with the
I think we were pretty close.
We're
to that tree.
basically blocked. If you walk out the elementary entrance right now, you'll see a green spray paint sign right dead in the middle of the concrete, and that is all the farther the camera can get.
Well, that was from us coming the other way
This
back
way,
in.
that was sediment this way.
Yeah.
There's sediment coming this way as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
to both sides of the school.
Is there a manhole out here in the goat pen?
Well, so what you got, when you stand out there and look, you have, if you look to your right, immediate, there's a neutralization pit there. And basically what that's for is the chemistry lab. So all of the drains that are on the sinks in the chemistry department, those all go to that. Now that's your sanitary sewer also. So anything that's tied back to that clean out that goes straight to the west of that should come down that same line into that pit and then leave at a 90 degrees and then come this way. So they're both parallel. The sewer and the storm are both parallel under the center of this library area.
So, we know we got a problem out front.
Mhm.
How much of that needs to be replaced? Does the whole thing?
No, so if you have that drawing,
Yeah.
there's a red squiggly line, and that's just kind of a simple representation of where we know it's blocked. So if you go clear back to the northeast corner of the gym,
Yep.
there's a manhole right there at the corner, and you see where it says 18-inch storm drain, and then it goes on that way across the parking lot.
Right.
We put the camera in there, because that's the only place we could at that point. We were going from the front of the school, and then we came out here. So we ran, whatever it was, 400 feet up that line, and then, excuse me, where that red dot is where we stopped. We could not get any further because the tree root was growing out into the pipe so much that we couldn't get the RC camera to go over the top of it.
Right.
And I sent you guys the videos, I don't know if you've seen those or not, but that's as far as we could physically get.
So, so where you cut your manhole,
Yeah,
and from there to that red dot, how many feet are we talking?
I think we figured it being like 220 is about what it was.
So, is this gonna be, so this would be in the grass, or this would be under the pavement?
So as I detailed on one of these notes, basically was saying that we could go through there, but the problem you run into is that we don't know exactly for sure. We're pretty confident that it's between the asphalt and the trees, but if you look at how this drawing is, it's actually showing that the line veers to the northeast. But our camera inspection shows it actually is kind of northwest from the center line of where that manhole is. So if that's the case, then that actually puts about 3 feet of that asphalt down there on that northern end of the parking lot, kind of in that point where it may have to be dug out. Now, if it's like the drawing shows, then it puts it into the trees. But from where we located it, once we had the camera to that spot where that dot is, it was actually underneath the asphalt. So we put the marker over in the grass. So when you look at it, it looks like it's in a straight line, but it's actually probably about 6 feet in. But we don't know till we would start digging.
So more than likely, you're gonna have to dig, I mean, it's probably gonna be asphalt, I mean.
It's a good likelihood.
So, how many trees are left out there?
There's 11 total out front in that section.
They need to go. because if you don't get rid of them,
Mhm.
this is gonna be a future problem. I know the trees are pretty, but this is right here, and we're gonna spend thousands of dollars because of tree roots. So the trees need to go. I mean, that's just, it needs to happen. If we wanna get something else and put them out a little farther, that don't, some kind of decorative tree that don't do a root system, I'm fine with that for aesthetics, but, I mean, that right there. So, you're saying 250 feet approximately, and but that's only an estimate, that's to fix it from where your manhole is to there.
Yeah.
And you know, so my other question, so you know from the gym to the outlet, we're good?
From the corner up to that dot, I have it on video.
Okay, that's good, but I mean,
And it's
the rest
clear.
of the way, is it clear?
Out to the,
Yeah,
no, we did not go that way.
okay. Well,
But it's, from what we've seen, it's flowing
okay.
out there.
Well, that's why I just
But
want
it's
to make
dual
sure.
wall pipe out there, excuse me, out there in the creek. And I don't know how far up they came, but if they did any kind of excavation when they put this parking lot in or whatever, I'm assuming they must have put some new line in. So,
Well, and if it's clay tile under asphalt, and there ain't no trees around.
Yeah, I
no
don't-
problem.
yeah.
So, how big a clay tile is out here in the front?
well, right in the front, and this is what's weird, is the drawing shows it's 18, but it's 15. So we don't know where it transitions from 15 to 18 between there and the breach, but from that hole, that catch basin over here to where that dot is, it never decreased, it stayed the same size. So we're thinking that there's a possibility that it could even just be a reducer in between there after the dot, more or less, is what I'm getting at. So,
So,
and I don't know that there's anything else tied in,
so
so,
first, we're gonna have to get this 250 feet resolved.
yeah.
We get that done, possibly we could come up with a way to flush from the goat pen and get rid of all this sediment.
Yeah,
And you're saying it is upgraded plastic under the building?
according to the job project that is the prints we got this from, yes, it should all be new PVC,
Okay,
up to the points that it shows new work, old work.
right, yeah. no.
And which also brings up a point, he mentioned something about the sewer lines. Now, from the sewer lines, in a perspective of out here and out there, as far as we know, there is no cross-contamination, so to speak, or connection there. But this, what do you want to call it, a cafeteria washroom that we had a proposal to do, and then they discovered that that was a blockage. There's an issue there, and there's an issue with that roof drain too. So that is actual sewer line that leaves there that's tied in underneath that floor. So we don't know if there's a breach there as well, and it could be that that's got blockage. But if that's the case, then it would have to be leaking underneath the floor. So that is something to be thinking
And that's part
about.
of the original building from
Yeah.
years ago.
And that's
But-
sewer line, not.
And there's a clean out in that elementary cafeteria where pressure has pushed that floor tiling up, cracked it around that clean out, and it's driven that clean out up a good 1/4 inch
Yeah.
from its original set.
Well, it's the same thing that's going on down here in the
Concession stand.
concession stand
Yes.
Which
down there.
brings a good point, that if you have that much pressure out there and flooding, and you've got all of this potential underneath the building, you could have a cavernous application that's occurring, and it's washing out down those drains as well.
So in other words, if we get, so the first thing, we gotta
Okay.
fix this out here.
Yeah.
And what's your proposal, and what are you replacing the clay tile with, the 250 feet?
That'd just be like do a wall pipe.
Okay.
The hand core makes it in Brazil. It's the exact same stuff.
Well, I know a lot of times, sometimes they use concrete pipe on storm drain, that's why I was asking what you would.
Well, what Brad Barrett proposed was do a wall pipe, and he does all the utility and municipal work for everybody around that area anyhow, so that's what they use. Now, if you wanted concrete,
No, I
That's
was
something
just
they'd have
asking which way it was.
yeah,
you were saying.
Okay, so we know this is blocked. We have to get this cleaned out.
yeah,
This seems to be where the backup's occurring and the flooding is coming from. So step one is flush, or try to flush.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, once we fix that out there.
Yeah, because currently, right now, it's got nowhere to go.
That's why we
Right,
didn't
okay,
do it.
so you
when
have
we
to
were-
make somewhere to go.
Yeah.
And then after that, let's say it doesn't flush out.
It
Do
would,
we-
thank God.
It-
I think that
worst
they,
case-
didn't you discover like last year that the pipes were already collapsed back there?
Well, I don't think they found the pipes was collapsed.
I think you give a proposal to do it, but nothing was ever done.
Yeah,
with it.
but they couldn't,
That's what I
they
thought
couldn't
too.
get through because it's all sealed up because it has nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So the first, we just gotta get this out here, Lisa. We gotta get rid of the trees and we gotta put a new pipe in.
Yeah,
And then we can start the process from there and then hopefully things clean out and things go well.
yeah, because if they would have flushed this, that would have all just ended up in this new manhole out here with nowhere to go. And then we'd have been in an even bigger mess. So it's actually kind of acting like a plug out here at the moment until this is to where it can all wash out.
And it pretty well is. I was in the manhole today, and it's still full. The piping down there is still completely full. The same as it was Monday.
Yeah, when he brought his jet truck down here, it's got a head on it about that big, and it's like 3,000 PSI, so it's a pretty good force, but it took them a lot of physical force to actually get it to drive through even on top of that, and they went through it 2 or 3 times, just to try to at least get it to where it would flow, and it was
And
still
that was
just,
jetting back this way.
This way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, toward the building.
yeah,
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I think right now, step one, we just gotta fix the 250 feet.
yeah.
And then if we can flush it out and it works fine, if it don't, but either way, we ain't got nowhere to take the water to.
Yeah, right now it's stuck out there. Now, the other thing I proposed on here, just kind of a quick, if you were worried about how it's gonna affect the kids getting in and out of school and the trees and the asphalt, the green line kind of represents more or less a way around all that. There actually is a Y connection, even though it shows it's a 45 on this drawing. And if you see where that green line goes, and there's kind of a gold line that attaches to it, that was another option if you wanted to not spend more money on tree removal and asphalt possibility. That would be the only other problem, or the only other way around it.
Yeah, but how many more feet we talking there?
Well, you'd be another 75 feet probably to the south. Plus, then you got another 110, I think, the other way. So,
But it still could be a cheaper option if we don't have to cut asphalt and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And replace that.
And it would
Yeah.
help with the flow of traffic for buses and
Yeah.
all of that.
without getting into an engineered project, that was just another, hey, this might be a workaround. You know what I mean?
So
What-
have you shot the grade from where you're gonna tie in down there?
That's the only other problem is if we go out further, then we lose fall and pitch, but it gets the water out of the building.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, is it gonna work? I mean, is the pipe gonna daylight out there before we can get it turned? It
No.
shouldn't. How deep is this in down here where you're tying in?
Well, right now, where we're at, I think, is 7 feet. Did you stand inside of it? I think it's 7 feet to grade.
Even if you use a good quality of pipe, even if we are a little shallow, a lawnmower or nothing's gonna crush it
No.
anyway.
No.
So, in dollars, it makes more sense to abandon the old line, go out and stay in the grass.
Yeah.
That way you don't disrupt your bus flow and all that.
Now, if you see the other gold line that leaves that little circle drive there, that's a roof, or that's a catch basin out there, and that's the one we can see from the camera. You can actually see it dripping in. So, as far as we know, that's the only other one that's gonna be dripping in that abandoned line if you did that.
So you're talking about this orange line here?
Yeah.
And the
Okay.
horseshoe.
Okay. If need be, that's something we could tee and tie that in, correct?
Well, you would have to run it all the way the other direction, but what I was suggesting is if we just abandon that line as it is, then this thing, I mean, it would have the potential to flow back to the manhole, but technically, it's probably never gonna do that. But
The way I look
You would
at
have
it,
to-
potentially use it as that.
you'd have to run it all the way back out. It's just more excavating to deal with. But if you abandon it as is, then that would still flow out to this 18 all the way to that catch
So, but
basin.
this is just in the middle of the Horseshoe Drive? This
Yes.
is not in the building? It
As far-
doesn't tie into the building?
Well, it's not on any map, but what I think what happened was, is at some point in time, they just added this on later. So maybe
So-
before they put the asphalt down.
So even if we get torrential downpours, the grade's gonna carry it off into the grass anyway. It's not gonna be a building issue.
No, it
There
should
should
be.
be enough with the curb and the height of the building.
Right,
But later on, if it was a problem, it'd just be cutting a small trench and tying into it and hooking it into the new.
right.
Well, I think the best way to go, if it was summertime, I'd tell you to go the shortest route. It seems out of school time, I think you'd be better off to go straight out and stay in the grass and go down there and tie in.
The only thing that concerns us, just eyeballing it from ground level, is I think you're probably going to have about maybe 3 to 4 inches of standing water in the pipe underground. If we do it just to where we can still be able to connect it back to that Y down on the other end.
But one other question, think there sanitary stuff out there, right there?
It's supposedly in closer.
Supposedly.
I was gonna say, I assume that that's what those dotted lines are.
Yeah, so the sewer line is the other dash next to it, and you can see where they crisscross, but the manhole for it, you can see out front. It's kind of right there by this first parking lot, just maybe the first or second tree after that, I think.
So, okay, back up. If we go to 250 feet, we'll still stay in the parking area, not in the bus drive, correct? So the drive could stay open,
Yes,
and you could spoil all your dirt back that way.
On the outside of the trees,
Yeah,
east of the trees, yes.
so, yeah, we'd have to deal with the asphalt, but that's not really, asphalt's probably the cheapest thing in this, fixing that. So, then we would have the grade, rather than us worrying about water laying in the pipe. So now I'm kind of leaning the other way, because you go that way, yeah, it saves you one way, but you're not really getting the maximum thing that you want to do. So I'm almost thinking that as long as we can keep the buses flowing, that's your main concern there, right? As long as we can keep the buses flowing, I think we'd be better off to do the 250 feet deal. After now, since we discussed the grade, and there could be grade issues there, because we don't want to do that. I mean, you've not shot it, I've not shot it,
no,
so we don't. Yeah, we don't know for sure if it could be an option, it may not be an option. But if we know if we replace our existing pipe, well, if they laid it on grade, we hope they did.
yeah.
So basically, you're just digging all the tree roots up, that section, and going with dual wall plastic pipe.
Pretty much.
Well, I think we gotta do that. I mean, I don't think, there's no.
Which do you recommend, and which, I mean, I'm sure that you two have thought about this, three have
Well,
thought about this a lot. What are you
My honest
proposing?
recommendation is there's a lot of other things besides this going on, but the only way to get out of the woodwork with this being a problem out here is to fix this right now. And this is not a good solution, but if you wanted to save money, you could rooter it. But what's going to happen eventually, if you don't take action soon enough, is it's going to collapse.
Then we're gonna be in a big, I mean,
Yeah.
we gotta fix it. We've kicked this can down the road ever since I've been on the board. This has been a flooding problem. This ain't new, and that's when we talked the other day. I said, we just gotta fix it.
Yeah.
So,
But-
I mean, there was even talks about putting a sump basin and sump pumps out here in the goat pen to pump the water. I don't know how they're gonna do it over the building. But that's kind of a cobble job in my opinion. I think we need to price doing the 250 feet, putting that new pipe in, and getting that done.
Well, the price to fix it, like we talked, going between the asphalt and the road, Brad, he gave a figure for that. That was
To not
basic.
exceed 30.
That was basically $30,000, but about 26 of that was more or less to replace that pipe from the new manhole to that red dot.
And that.
Does not include trees and
Yeah, doesn't include the tree removal or anything with asphalt, because it's all unknown at this point, until you start doing excavation. Now,
Need to get back to the excavate.
the extra part of this, where I said you might just put it at like 30,000 not to exceed, depending on how you guys had to present it, that gives you the opportunity to actually do some camera inspection on top of this. So if we end up doing the jetting and the camera inspection, you can just say, well, it's probably going to have about 30 in it altogether. That's to get the pipe in, get this checked out and cleared out, and you might walk away with 30 in it and be done. Now, if we get into this and start finding more discoveries that are major stuff where things are broken, now we got to figure out how to get an excavator in there with a crane, how we're going to dig all that out. That's a whole nother project. So we're just kind of looking at this piece by piece, but
First, you gotta fix that.
got to get that out front fixed. And the only other option, like I said, this is a bigger project, is technically, if you had this re-engineered and had this all figured, you might not even have to go that way. You could probably go that direction.
Yeah, but.
But then we'd have to bring a civil engineer in to do all of that.
You're gonna spend more than $30,000 in blueprints and engineering.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have 100,000 in that, but the thing is, that I would be concerned with is when you put water on somebody else, they can sue you. Now, if these people are building these houses back here, and they're a couple of years old, and now they're starting to have problems with it, and then it gets even worse, I'd hate to see them come after you, because that catch basin out there is not handling it. And it's going through that, and maybe it's blocked, I don't know, we didn't get that far into it. But it's trying to go one direction, and it's filling up and going out the catch basin and flooding down that swale into their driveway. So that's where I'm just saying, there's a lot more going on here.
Well, but
Just-
there is a lot more going on. If we fix this problem,
That's just gonna get it out of this.
well, yeah, but what other drains, maybe is it backing up and we don't know.
Well, as far as we know, if we go by these prints and what we've seen, everything from that courtyard goes under the school and goes that way, and that's it. All those,
We don't wanna do an engineered plan.
yeah,
Like I said, you're gonna, $30,000 ain't even gonna touch an engineering firm to redesign it, and then on top of all that.
I'm just thinking the worst case of a lawsuit. If somehow they got, something happened and flooded to their house, then they could say it was redirected somehow.
Does anybody know of any complaints that we've had from anybody back there?
No, we haven't received any complaints, just the evidence that the
Well, I can
driveway
see
has
where they've
washed
dug
out.
around the
Their
fence
Their
trying to get
driveway
rid
has
of it.
washed out.
So,
Their driveway has.
okay, but that's probably not the norm. I mean, normally we don't get 3 inches of rain here now.
No,
Is that our water doing that?
Oh, yeah.
Or is that the city's water doing that?
well, it's both. See, that's the flip side of it.
So we could say, because their water's running
Because there's
across
like a
there
little
too,
creek
so.
that runs.
Well,
In a lot bigger pipe.
the problem is though, is it hits that catch basin and it physically comes out of your catch basin. That's where
Okay.
it just,
So
I
how
can
much
see-
asphalt do you think that you're gonna dig up if we don't do the green line, if we just do the?
I honestly have no idea.
We don't know
It,
the
we,
angle.
yeah, because where we have the marker at for that red dot.
Yeah.
Is actually like 3 feet on the asphalt.
That red dot is 3 feet in the asphalt?
Well, that red dot is on that pipe on this drawing. But if you look at that drawing, the asphalt's actually in another 6 feet or 8 feet on this
Okay.
drawing.
But you're gonna.
Well, that's what these lines look like.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
not on the asphalt,
No,
but
that's why I say,
It is,
if you look at
okay.
that drawing, it shows that that pipe goes northeast.
Mhm.
But our measurements show that it's actually going northwest,
okay.
if that's correct.
But you're gonna saw cut the asphalt and just dig a trench.
Yeah, he'd have to cut, he'd have to just cut it
So
out.
Then basically all you've got is, once they get it done, you'll backfill it with 53s, all the way up to grade, you'll park on it, you'll let it all settle, and then possibly next spring, then you can go in and dig 6 inches of 53s out, and then you can just asphalt the trench and blend it in.
Yeah.
So that's why I said the asphalt's probably not gonna be a big cost.
Well, I didn't know if so the drawing shows that it's just like you said, you could trench in a couple places and be good. But I didn't know, like he said, this shows that it's not on the asphalt, but it really is on the asphalt. So it's
Right.
not just it's gonna be a lot more than just a trench.
Well, until you
Like, it's gonna
start,
be the whole side of it, basically.
it could be, and until we start digging it, we'd have no idea if
Well,
it's
and that's fine,
parallel.
so-
or-
Yeah, okay.
But once you salt cut it, they're gonna know, once they start digging,
Yeah,
the guy on the hose gonna be able to follow the existing pipe.
Yeah.
And if we get down there and say the other 4 feet of it from the edge, he just cuts a line and takes 4 feet of it out, then we'll backfill that with 53s, we'll let it settle, and then we'll just have to put a 4-foot strip
Strip.
along the edge. So the asphalt's really not gonna be, it's gonna be probably the least invasive of anything we're talking about.
But
It
the
can be
most
fixed-
expensive,
Huh?
but the most expensive.
The asphalt?
It's 45,000 versus 30 for the
Well,
drainage repair.
That's just my, are you talking about the preliminary cost? That's not really getting a true estimate. That was just to get documentation to the governor on potential costs.
Okay,
Right, so, and at the end of the day, if it's a 4-foot wide deal, or if it's a 4-foot wide apron, I ain't gonna sit here in my calculator and figure it out, but you're not talking about that many tons of asphalt. And even if it's $150 a ton laid, you can get Charlie and their boys to come out here. It's probably gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be under a few $1,000 to relay that asphalt. That's gonna be the cheapest thing in the whole job is the asphalt, putting it back.
okay, just with
Oh, I know.
the data that I was reading, that was more
Yeah.
expensive than the actual drain work.
Yeah, no.
And the unknown.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that if you go the green line, there's the if, there's gonna be water standing in the pipe. There's a lot of what ifs. What if they get out there a little farther and find out that where they thought stuff was and we hit other stuff? If we stay on the existing line, it's 250 feet. You can dig right over the line, that way you know where you're at. I think that's the safest way, and then we know the grade was there and it worked.
And we'll hook the orange line back in from the horseshoe.
No, we decided, we didn't think we were gonna have to.
Oh, no, that one would be, it'd be hooked in.
That's what I
Yeah,
thought.
on that new line, yes, that one would be reconnected.
Well, you said earlier we were going.
If we do
If
the
you went to the
green
green
line,
line.
if you do the green line,
yeah.
it won't hook in.
Yeah, if we went to the
I don't know.
green line, you just leave it as is, but,
Right.
yeah, that one would tie back into the new
Which would be
drain.
better too.
Yeah.
Get as much underground as we can.
Breon, I want to go back to your original question and allow Jeff time to share and answer the question because you'd said you may have thoughts as well.
Oh, yeah.
I gotta tell you guys, I'm doing my best here. This was a little bit more than what I was expecting, and I've learned a lot. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that we have to have action, and it needs to be done pretty quickly if we want to salvage anything that could potentially still be damaged in this area. I feel this is probably at least a 2, 3, 4 phase project. You can consider the manhole phase 1, it's completed, we got eyes on what we needed to get done. Phase 2 is to take care of out front, phase 3 is over here. And then phase 4 is any remnants that we don't see, the unknown. And I think a lot of the future direction of this place is contingent upon the decisions that are made over this right here, right now. If we remove the trees, they can be replanted. If we dig up asphalt, they can be replanted. If we don't have the pitch to run the line out in the middle of our vast fields, then we don't have the pitch. We can't force something that's not there. My personal opinion is go with the safest route, most direct route with what you guys are trying to accomplish, which is eliminating standing water. We still don't know exactly what all is going on underneath the school, but we need to focus our energy on the knowns right now, and that's this. I think 3, 4, 5, all the way up to phase 25 maybe down the road. Will still rear its ugly head, but right now we really need to work our way through
Phase
project
1 and
number
2.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a game plan, honestly.
So it was $17,000 to put a manhole in?
And then all the inspection and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question, curious. I understand the problem with we would never be in a situation where sewage water would be standing in the pipes. Why, can you help me understand why it would be a problem if stormwater was standing in the pipe?
You want to answer that, you want me to? It just cuts your flow down, it cuts your capacity down. You know, you want as much capacity, so when the big rain comes and we get this all open, you want that thing to really go. And so by doing it the other way, you know, and it might, right now we think there'll be, like I said, there's just so many unknowns. If you go out in the yard, you don't know over the years what they've done and what they've got into. So, yeah, I mean.
I don't know, I just always thought that standing water in general was a bad thing, like, it could breed bacteria and bugs and,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, it would be underground.
Underground.
I understand that, but it's
Yeah.
still like, things of that nature can get in there, I mean, and yeah, so you've got a, I don't know what inch pipe, did you say like 18, if 4 inches of standing water, you've got, it would still,
It would limit your capacity.
yeah, it would limit flow.
My first thought was, would we be okay with standing storm water? I know we would never be okay with standing sewage water, but.
Yeah.
And that's actually another part of the unknown, is we have sewer lines right out front that the covers for them are parallel to our storm lines. Now, I haven't matched them up on prints or anything, but if we're dealing with storm lines, dealing with roots, I can only imagine what the sewer line looks like if it's right next to it.
And that's my other question, is it reasonable to assume that our sewage lines have also been,
Well, we had
Compromised.
that problem before you got here. Jennifer, you'll remember, was when Jeff was the superintendent, I was on the board. And we actually had to, I think we had to cancel school a couple days because all the sewer was backing up. And it was tree roots out there in front of the school.
Oh, that was just the
tree
junior,
roots, but I don't remember.
it was just the junior
It was
bathrooms.
the toilets wouldn't flush.
Oh,
It was just the
that's what
junior
it was.
bathrooms.
Yeah, the toilets wouldn't flush, so the tree roots have got into the sanitary.
And that's what, this orange line, I wondered, because there was something that went out, like these doors right over here, kind of like at a diagonal, we had to cut one of the trees down
There,
because,
I think you're right, there is one, the next one over is the actual sewer line. You're talking about the ones that are at an angle, coming off the gym, the area there?
no,
Or the
the
front of
orange
school.
line with I don't know, it's the horseshoe.
That's a drain.
Like if you go back to the corner of the school right there, in that picture, there
Oh,
was some sewage back up there,
yeah, there might be another one up in there somewhere, I think.
because that section has bathrooms.
It seemed like it came down through here. if
It
I'm
was
not
the
mistaken.
juniors and the junior high, right? Like it was the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the sewer manhole right next to
I
it.
don't want to open up a whole
There's
other can of
another
worms
one
if they
that's
already have
directly
the
in line with the trees.
Yeah, there's the
equipment here
line
and the
coming
ground
off, yeah,
open
to
up.
that
Is that
parking
something
lot.
that we should?
So then there-
I just don't
Look
want
at-
2 months from
That's
now,
right.
we're back at this table and
Yeah.
sewage is back.
Like
in.
inspect,
We had
inspect,
everything open.
inspecting that line while they're
Well, yeah,
still
well, I
here.
mean, of course, if they're in there and they see the line, yeah, they need to inspect it. But I also think this is a no-brainer, we need to get rid of the trees. Now, we can go back, I mean, we can do research and find a type of tree or an ornamental tree for looks that doesn't, there's research out there that will not root. But I think them trees have cost us this month. So we have to get rid of the trees. And when I say get rid of them, we need to have them taken out, excavator, tree roots, stumps, everything done. And then if we have to bring a little dirt in, because everything we're doing, and you have plastic pipe, but still, them tree roots, they got so much power, and they can go places, I don't know how they do it, but I've seen them. So,
Most of that is PVC, so I'm wondering if it has been changed at some point in time.
we had.
The sewage? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had.
So
that
like when you're
almost
out there, you're
like
gonna, will you look at the sewage line? Should we look at the sewage lines?
Well, not unless it's dug up.
Yeah, but see, they're not gonna dig there,
Okay.
so,
So I didn't know when he said parallel, are we talking like?
I don't know, maybe I'm not looking at what I'm thinking.
So if you stand out front in that little parking lot, and you imagine between the asphalt and the trees, that's where we are 100% sure that that storm drain goes down in between those two.
Okay.
Now, in between the trees, there's another manhole there on the other side. And if you assume that they are parallel, they're probably, I don't know, 8 feet apart maybe. So if they dig, they're not going to dig over there,
Over there, okay.
because that's actually underneath the trees almost.
So you say there's, you think our sanitary's running
Right underneath the tree.
It
Well,
is.
then maybe we better have them cut and have the stumps ground
Ground
down.
out.
Yeah.
Because that'll kill the roots, but we can put something to kill it and then, because if we go just rooting around
Should we,
and there'll
can
be
we
a
run,
root around the
I
pipe.
mean, that's what I'm
Yeah, we-
saying, you can walk right out the elementary and you can see the.
Can you
two
run
sewer
cameras down
manholes.
sewer
I
lines?
mean,
Oh, yeah, they could
there's
inspect all
trees
that,
in
too.
Is it
between,
something
and
that you
they're
think that would be
directly
valuable to
underneath
check?
those
So I
trees.
think, Jeff, we get somebody come in there and cut them and
I think
grind the
most of it's
stumps
been
out,
replaced.
put chemical on them to make sure everything dies and not disturb that. I didn't realize that they were sitting right on top. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think they have been replaced from what it looks like out there. I don't know what point in time that occurred, but
It's been in the last, it's probably been in the last 6 or 7 years. I mean, Noel may have been the superintendent when all that happened. But it's been recent. It ain't been
When what happened?
when
Sewage backup. the twins
sewage
wouldn't
back
flush.
up. we had
Like
to
2
do-
years ago, I
I
think.
think there
2 or
was a
3.
time before that.
No, there was a
though.
time-
I
Okay.
think we've done something twice, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
The
think
one
you're
time
right.
they had a big area dug up
Yeah.
out there.
I think you're right. I think it was Mr. Knoll, and then the last one was
Yeah.
Mr. Daniels.
so that manhole that's out there, it's not on the drawing, is it? The one that's by the tree?
If I'm not mistaken, that one was added later,
I think it is.
at another date, because I have not seen it on a single
I can't see
print.
on that paper, but I'm pretty sure that it had been added at some point in time.
So,
Because it's built up above the ground, it wasn't.
Yeah.
so looking at this cost, we're already in the 17,000 for the manhole, that had to be done. And you're saying 26 to 30,000 to replace that pipe?
Well, that's to replace the pipe and probably blow this line out and get it drained out and scope what we can. It's just kind of,
Okay.
I kind of did like, we know
Phase
it's
2
probably
and
gonna-
3.
Yeah, we're gonna we know it's gonna cost 26,000, but if you just say not to exceed 30, then at least you got a buffer zone to work with
Okay.
for some of the other
So
stuff.
as long as we're under 50, we don't have to do bids, right?
Right.
By law, okay. So,
See, I don't know how that works, like, you guys know better than me, like, I've been asked that question a couple of times. I don't know if it's the total scope of the entire project, or if it's just the,
no, it's what we're doing right now.
okay.
So as each job, if it
It will
exceeds
reset.
50,000, we have to.
I got it.
And
It's called a public works,
so
each one.
if,
Each one is a public works
Each
project?
one
So like the manhole was
is a
one public works?
Yes.
And then the next part would be the
Yes.
next, okay.
so we can get our asphalt guy to deal with the asphalt, and it'll be really reasonable. So, I mean, because you guys don't do asphalt.
No,
You're
we-
contracted out.
Yeah, I was,
You guys are you're mechanical and plumbing. My opinion, I'm just one person on the board, but I think we need to go ahead and get that pipe replaced out there. The one that's there, let them get that done and let them blow these things out, and then
Yeah.
we'll know more. I mean, I don't think we have any choice.
and if you want him to scope the other drains while he's here, I'm sure he can do it. And like I say, if he can get it done within that 30,000 and knock it out, he'll do it within then, you know?
I also think Dr. Smith would be good to put a bid out and get estimates on tree removal and stump grinding too. Because what's gonna happen is we'll get this done and then we'll say, well, it ain't so bad, and we're gonna be doing it again. So I would, if we're, right now as we're doing it, let me ask another question. This don't apply to you guys. We had that last bond issue. Have we used all that money, or can we reassign that to this? Where are we at on that, Jennifer, Dr. Smith?
Well, I know, I haven't looked at the balance in the last month. We had earmarked about 45 for the kitchen, the elementary kitchen. that we haven't moved forward with. Cleaning out that old washroom, we had a health.
Which is
site-
required by the health department
Right.
to take action on. Yep.
Right, and we were working with Brian on that. Brian essentially helped us to identify that we need to put a pause on that because he essentially couldn't put a new sink in there right now because of the drain issues, and the drain head is full. So we haven't moved forward on the kitchen project, but Jennifer will have to check the balance on what we have on that. But I will share, Jennifer and I have a meeting with bond counsel tomorrow. If there isn't existing bond money left, we're working with bond counsel in case we need to get additional. We do have rainy day fund.
Yeah, we need to move forward, but I just want
Yeah.
to make sure that we ain't depleting our whole rainy day fund if there was another way
Right.
of paying for it.
And sometimes we're allowed to if we get the bond later, because it's a series of public meetings that we have to get a new bond. We can sometimes, like our last GO bond, we can reimburse the rainy day fund or the
Right.
general fund if we need to, operations fund.
So,
So,
one more question.
yes.
Can we make a decision, since it's a work session, to move forward on doing the $30,000 deal or not?
No, but that's what the next meeting's for.
Okay. Well, that answered my question.
Management of tree balance on existing.
We
You have
can, we
to
can
go
talk
on
about the fact that,
balance.
so we do want to discuss this in the next meeting, right?
Yeah, we do.
And we do want to vote on it.
Yeah, we
Okay.
do want to vote to get,
I think there'll be some,
Balance of bond. All right.
I think there'll be some.
and
that
also,
can
if
speak
you guys
for
don't care to put out, whatever you guys do, bids to get the trees removed. And
Yeah.
Jeff,
Yes, sir.
if you don't care, you decide which trees you think need to be gone.
Okay,
And let us know, and so that way, because I'm not here. and
I'm
not gonna
kind
be
of
here.
guessing these trees down by the elementary, it doesn't look like there's pipes down there?
You mean the big tree? I'm talking about just the trees that's over where. the
Okay,
plumbing
so
is.
you're not talking about all the trees?
No, no, no.
You're
all
just
the
talking
trees.
about the trees, okay.
All the trees go.
No,
That's
no,
what,
the
that is
ones
what you said.
The ones that Jeff was making mention to earlier, that was my point.
Basically from,
from the elementary back north.
Yeah.
There's one on the true west side that kind of hangs into that 45 diagonal run to the corner of the gymnasium. We definitely want to get rid of that one. The one next to it is down about 12 to 15 feet. I would say, and that would be a judgment call. I'll lean on the professionals for that advice as to whether or not we need to go that far with it. As far as on the other side, the true east side of the road, I think we're looking at 4 to 5. We may be
And those
leaving
would
one
need
or
to go.
two on the far end of the front drive.
right, okay.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Only take the trees out that affects the plumbing, and Jeff, if you wouldn't mind, in talking with them too, if you want to get their advice, any tree that we think is going to cause us future problems, let us
Right.
know, account, so we can put bids out on getting them removed and getting the stumps ground down and covered up.
Okay, will do.
I hate to see you have to cut them all out, but I do think that sewer line goes all the way down to the intersection.
That's,
I knew it did, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to be nice
I
here.
know. I hate to say
I
the truth,
told
but
Jeff, I said, cut all
I hate
those
cutting trees
Like,
down,
you hate
but-
trees? No, but I've seen what they're doing.
Yeah, what they do.
Well,
I mean, seriously, who plants gumball trees where you're like,
Yeah.
playing ball?
I was like,
I literally heard the same thing in her office like 4 days ago. Who plants gumball?
I broke a girl's nose one time playing softball because I hit the ball, it hit one of those gumballs, smashed her face.
Oh
And
my
it was
gosh.
like, because you
Get the
can't get
right-
rid of those gumballs.
you
We
get
used
the
to
right
practice
person,
out there.
you might get a couple $1,000s a piece out of them. Those are all sugar maples.
That's all.
well, yeah, maybe.
They're big.
They are big.
Either way, we got to investigate whether we're going to try to get somebody to come and buy them, or we're going to get somebody to cut them down. But the stumps, we don't want to dig them up,
Yeah.
not over the top of the line. And then, I'm not opposed, like I said, do research and find something to plant back that's not going to be invasive to the sewer system.
Or just plant them in the middle of the field. Or at the edge of the road?
Yeah,
No.
find them up there over Jasonville, utility.
Not, that blue squiggly line coming off that, I think is a
They're not very
field
good
tile
now.
that's out there. Because we're not sure, but we can see another drain coming off of that 45, so they might have put a field tile out there at some point.
If we put enough weeping willows out there, we won't need a drain, they'll take up all the water.
Yeah, those things.
No,
Now, talk about crazy killer roots.
no, that's what Jody said, you don't want any weeping willows, but the trees have to go, at least the ones that are affecting our drains.
Agreed.
Because we're spending a lot of money because of tree roots. That's all I got to say about that.
I wanted to put in here and just have at your fingertips, not knowing how the conversation would go and where we would land. The procurement and proposal process. I gave you a copy of the board policy that we have on policy 6220 in your board packet, and it just shares, it defines what a public works project is and establishes that the purchasing agent can seek at least 3 price quotations on purchases and supplies that are more than $50,000 but less than $150,000. It does say on the last page, contracts can be awarded by the superintendent without board approval for any single item or group of identical items costing less than $50,000. Any single item or group of identical items. So all other contracts require board approval prior to purchase. It doesn't say it has to be that way, it just says contracts can. I also wanted you to have a copy of just in case we were to get federal grant funds, there is a different set of procurement requirements. I don't anticipate that we will as of right now. Terry Jackson isn't confident, but I gave you a copy of the federal grant procurement requirements that Jeff and I will follow. And then conflict of interest with vendor. The school board shall not knowingly approve a contract or purchase using any funds received from a federal grant or award in which a board member, employee, or agent of the board has a pecuniary interest. So the board shall not knowingly approve a contract or purchase using funds other than those received from a federal grant or award in which a board member, corporation employee, or agent of the board or their spouse or dependents profits, basically from that disclosure, from that purchase. So I just wanted you to have easy access to that. And if you would like, we can adjourn, and then we can start the special session if the board would like to take action.
Anybody else got any more questions for them guys? We covered everything. I'm good with adjournment. We're on the work with it.
Yeah, we have to make a motion for adjournment
Yes.
for this one.
Yes.
We make a motion to adjourn the work session. Do
Make a motion to adjourn the work session.
we have a second?
No, second.
Ian seconded. All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
We got-
Jeff, I feel like this paper is useful.